Hi guys, and welcome to this final question of the exercise. We have this function with these two unknowns, p and q. We're told a bit of information about them and these coordinates here, which I'll mark on the picture. So we know c is 45, 0. So let's pop that on there. And we know a is 0, 2. Okay, I'm sure those will come in handy. Let's find the value of q. Okay, so at this point, you're like, well, I've got these coordinates, I've got this function. The only thing you can really do is substitute those in. So let's see what happens. So if we have 0 and 2. So 2 is going to equal, so our function of x, this is going to be 2, like our y value. So 1 plus 2 sine x, sorry, sine px, okay? But p times x, when x is 0, is just going to be 0, leaving us with q. Now I can see straight away that I can find q now, and therefore answer part A. So let's rearrange this. That's going to be, I'm going to do this bit quite fast. So take away 1, that's 1 divided by 2, that's going to be a half. So half is equal to sine q. So to find q, it's going to be the inverse sine of 1/2. Okay, so if you think about your cast diagram, we know, let's pop these on, C-A-S-T. We know that sine is positive here, and we know it's positive here. So we're going to get these two angles. But if you think about this graph, what we're actually doing, we're starting here, and as we're going in this direction, we're only in this first quadrant at this point. So I'm only actually interested in that angle there. So they haven't given us a range to like solve within, but you just have to think about the graph. Now, so the inverse sine of a half is 30 degrees. Okay, so there's part A. Now part B, they're telling us the answer of P, so that's quite nice. So let's do that, and I'll do this one in blue so it's separate. So let's put the other coordinate in. Let's do 45 and 0. So now we know 0 is equal to 1 plus 2 sine, and here we have px, so it's 45p, because x is 45, plus q, which we've just worked out is 30, so let's pop that in there. Okay, let's do some rearranging, so that's going to be minus a half is the sine of 45p plus 30. Okay, and just the same as we just did before, we could say 45p plus 30 is the inverse sine of minus a half. Alright, so let's draw a cast diagram again, but this time sine is negative, okay? So I've got CAST there, so I can just use these. So sine is negative there, and sine is negative there. Now, we're using this coordinate here, and when it's equal to 0, as we go along, this is the first value that's equal to 0, this is the second value. So, because we're using this coordinate, the first value, we're going to use the first one that we get, which is here. Now, the inverse sine of minus half is minus 30, which is this angle, therefore meaning this angle here is 30. So, this all the way around here, 45 plus 30 is going to be equal to 210. So we rearrange that, 45p, sorry. So 45p is going to be equal to 180. And therefore p is going to equal to 4. I'm very happy because they told us p is 4, and we've shown that p is 4. Okay, so let's find the coordinates of b and d. I like the look of d better, so let's start with that. So I'm going to put d up here. And we know d is when it equals to 0 as well. So 0 is equal to 1 plus 2 sine 45p plus q. But now we know what P and Q are. So let's put those in. I've no idea why I wrote 45. Let me just get rid of that, because I was looking at this blue section rather than the actual question. So it's Px, so we know P is 4, so we're going to have 4x, and we know Q is 30, so we can put 30 straight on in there. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this. So again, that's going to be minus a half equals sine 4x plus 30. So 4x plus 30 is going to be the inverse sine of minus a half, which we've already worked out, and we've already got the cast diagram drawn for. Okay, now if you think about it, there was the first solution. Now as we keep going, this is the second one. So as we go round this cast diagram, we're actually interested now in this second one. So 360 take away this 30 is 330. So 4x plus 30 is going to be 330. Take away the 30, divide by 4, you get x to be 75. And therefore the coordinate is 75 and 0. Alright, I've just done a bit of tidying up there so we can answer part C in this space. So we've done D, that's over here. I've just moved it up here. Now we've got to do B. Now, you got to think about this graph now, and let's think about what this does and what this part here does. So this means it's moved up 1. Okay, this 1 here means we have this. So we know the center, this center point here is 1. We know this 2 means that's a stretch in the y direction, so the amplitude of this graph is now 2. So from this center, it's going up 2 and it's going down 2. So I can immediately now tell you the y coordinate. So I know the y coordinate is 3, because 1, this line here, plus 2 is 3. Now what we've got to do is work out the x coordinate. So we've kind of got to work out where it equals to 3. And obviously there's an infinite amount, but we're only going to be looking in this first quadrant because it's the first part of the graph. So let's put this function equal to 3, and then we'll see where this point is. So 3 is equal to 1 plus 2 sine, we know what P is 4. And we know what Q is, we've already worked that out, which was 30. I've rubbed that out now. Okay, so let's do some rearranging. So we actually get 1 equals sine of 4x plus 30. So therefore 4x plus 30 is going to be the inverse of 1, inverse sine of 1. Now think about your graph, okay? It's going to be there, okay? So there's 1, it's going to be 90 degrees. So we can say 4x plus 30 is 90. I'm not going to bother with the cast diagram for all of this because it's the first quadrant, okay? So it's just this very first one. So let's rearrange this. So 4x is 60, divide that by 4, and you get 15. So we can say therefore it's 15 and 3. So that's a pretty tough question to finish off on. I hope what I've said makes sense. Good luck, guys.